I don't know if everybody is aware of the perverse verdict in the inquest of Mark's execution. It was perverse in the sense that the jury believed Mark was not armed. He got out of the cab, he didn't have a gun in his hand. Yet, 8 out of the 10 jurors believed it was a lawful killing. We challenged this verdict because of lots of reasons: for the safety of our children, the next generation, the young people out there. Because if that verdict stands, that means the police can shoot any unarmed person they feel the need to, no consequences. So we got this verdict, and obviously now we're going to challenge it once again. We're going to seek permission to appeal. During that judicial review against the lawful killing verdict, even Lord Leveson voiced his concern that the public would find it hard to understand how an unarmed man can be lawfully killed. We as a family have the feeling to say we don't understand this. It does not make sense. We know Mark didn't have a gun in his hand, he had a BlackBerry phone in his hand and he was surrendering. That's the witness said that out of his own mouth. But obviously, nobody wants us to know that, do they? That's the truth. We also couldn't understand, during this inquest, we discovered why, at the scene of Mark's death, V53 is the shooter, was made principal officer. This meant that he was the only one that had to give an account of what took place straight away. Then we couldn't understand why the police get a 48-hour reprieve before they can even speak about this. But we believe that's so V53 can phone his mates and say, this is what I've said, follow up this story with your own. So they adjust the notebooks, which some of them did adjust their notebooks to follow what V53 said about Mark being armed and dangerous and his life being at risk. So all of these things that we discovered, then after the 48-hour reprieve, all of the 11 armed officers were allowed to sit in a room together to write and talk about their statements. And would you believe it, they were overseen by an officer from the IPCC. The representative was named Colin Sparrow. Colin Sparrow had been a cop for 30 years. He's heading our investigation, investigating the police. He allowed 11 officers to sit in the same room, and what he did was he left them in the room and just verbally told them, do not confer. Well, he's got a lot of trust in the police when he's supposed to be investigating them. So as a result of that now, we have challenged police collusion. It's just gone to the Royal Courts of Justice. It's been heard by High Court judges. We're waiting for the result, the outcome of police collusion. And also during this, what we've come to realise is that the collusion, or conferring as they like to say it, has been an issue. And it's been a criticism of the IPC since 1999, the shooting of Harry Stanley. Has everybody heard of the Harry Stanley shooting? 1999, the IPCC have been concerned about police accounts of events. 2014, and they're still allowed to confer. So come on, something has really, really got to be done. So we are challenging that. Not that it's going to help us in any way, but obviously it could help, you know, for the future with the honesty and integrity of the Met. A few months after after the executed Mark, a strange event took place. Now, Trident is a gun unit for the Metropolitan Police Service. These are specialists, like they keep telling us, specialist, highly trained, very much needed armed officers. A few months after Mark was executed, they all turned up for work at their Trident unit, only to be told it no longer exists. Trident was disbanded with no consultation, explanation or reason given. Now these same highly trained specialist, much needed armed officers, have you guessed what their job is now? They're tasked to handing out ASBOs and CRASBOs to young kids. Does that make sense? Because I think that's not promotion, that's demotion, isn't it? So the question again comes to mind, why? So we're thinking further down the line, because we're not giving up, further down the line when we need to know, or we should get to know, who these 11 are, V53 who he is, has Trident be disbanded so that they can be disappeared, and we'll never ever get to know who murdered Mark really. So you see, this is the bigger picture that we're learning about. So like I said, we are seeking permission to appeal the conclusion. Now, we've had meetings with our legal team, and we've been told basically the chances of winning this case are going to be very slim, even though there was public outrage at the perverse verdict. We've got to challenge this, we've got to fight it, like I said, because of the concern of the IPCC, the concern of us as a family. So we're going to carry on fighting, because every rejection that we endure, hopefully the public will see how unfairly Mark and his family are being treated by a corrupt, racist and out-of-touch institution. On the 29th of July, there was a guy called Kevin Hutchinson Foster who pistol-whipped a man in London. The gun that he used was found at the scene of Mark's death. On the 3rd of August, the day before Mark was executed, this same man, Kevin Hutchinson Foster, was known by the Metropolitan Police and Trident to have at least 3 guns in his possession. Now, after they murdered Mark for one of those guns, so you say, there were still 2 more guns out there on the street. Kevin Hutchinson Foster was not arrested until the 28th of October. So when Trident say that their job is to take guns off the street, they murdered Mark for one of these guns. Why did they not then go and get the other 2 from Kevin Hutchinson Foster? Furthermore, if Mark was supposed to be going to pick up this gun from Kevin Hutchinson Foster on the 4th of August, why did they not kill 2 birds with one stone and get them both together and take the 3+ guns off the streets? So now, our question again is back to them, is who the hell is Kevin Hutchinson Foster, and what relationship did he have with the Metropolitan Police Service in Trident? Because we know there's a link there. There was already a statement leaked out from an investigative journalist. He sent it to Bernard Hogan-Howe and to us. And basically this statement is saying that Mark was set up, selected, and he had to die in order to protect their informer, who we believe is Kevin Hutchinson Foster. It's very confusing, but what basically they're saying is Mark, there was no option but to kill Mark, because if Mark did not die, Kevin Hutchinson Foster's identity would be revealed, and therefore his life would be under threat, and also the corruption within Trident would be uncovered, like this investigative journalist was saying. He was speaking to an officer from Trident who gave him all of this information. So we are going to carry on fighting, because we know that Mark was actually selected, he was executed. The cover-up, the smear campaign, the fact that they tried to say Mark was one of the 48 most dangerous men in Europe, and he's never been to prison. His record was, what, driving while he's disqualified, £250 fine, a bit of marijuana when it was about 20, £35 fine. That was Mark's criminal record, yet they deemed him as one of the 48 most dangerous in Europe. This is the smear campaign, the character assassination that is set up when there is a death in custody. And what Mark's death did is mirrored the death of Mike Brown in America, because the same thing, Mike Brown was surrendering, he had his hands up, he was shot dead, and then the first thing they did was put the picture in the paper of him doing gun signs, not the picture of him in his graduate clothes, you know, just the same as they did with Mark, the picture that you see on your seat there. Mark and Simone, his partner, had a stillborn daughter, Kyla. We buried Kyla. Simone could never go to the cemetery, so therefore Mark maintained the grave. And that photograph you see on your seats is him at the graveside with his heart plaque to put on his daughter's grave, And he used to take photographs, obviously to take back to Simone to say, this is what your daughter's grave looks like, and this is the plaque that put there. They've used the same photo and put it in the newspaper because Mark looks sullen and serious. Again, all of the photographs that they've used of Mark of him being out raving where he is, doing signs, gun signs, but hey, Madonna can do it, Adele can do it, all the celebrities can do it, but they're white, aren't they? So that's fine, that's art or interesting or whatever. But if a black person does it, then that's threatening. So that's exactly what they did to bolster this myth that Mark was a dangerous man. Mark was just an ordinary working class, mixed race guy going about his business with his children. And we're not going to accept this. 3 years now we've been campaigning to try and rid this tarnish that they put on Mark and on Mark's family, because now they weren't happy to slander Mark, they started slandering me. Well, come on, because you see, while they're having a go at me, they're leaving other people alone. But what I'm standing here to say is, we are going to carry on fighting. As long as I've got breath in my body, no justice, no peace.